Over a century has passed since World War I ended, yet the Great War continues to harbor secrets that defy explanation. Hidden beneath the documented horror of trench warfare lie mysteries so bizarre that historians still struggle to separate fact from legend. From ghost ships that sailed without crews to biological warfare campaigns that predated modern terrorism. From supernatural encounters on the battlefield to government conspiracies that reach the highest levels of power. Today, we're exploring 5 unsolved mysteries of World War I that continue to baffle researchers more than 100 years later. Hit that subscribe button and prepare to question everything you've been taught about the war to end all wars. August 23, 1914. The Battle of Mons. Outnumbered British forces face annihilation against the advancing German army. What happens next becomes one of the most documented supernatural events in military history. British soldiers reported seeing glowing figures appear between the opposing armies, described as angels, medieval archers, or luminous beings that seemed to protect the retreating British forces. Private Robert Cleaver wrote, "I saw them myself, sir, a whole company of them, shining like silver, standing between us and the Germans." Multiple independent witnesses, including German prisoners, reported the same phenomena. The British War Office investigated but classified their findings. Those documents remain sealed to this day. What did they discover that required such secrecy? But if angelic intervention seems far-fetched, our next mystery involves something far more sinister and scientifically documented. While America remained neutral, a secret war was already being waged on American soil. German agents had launched the world's first systematic biological warfare campaign, targeting animals destined for the Western Front. Dr. Anton Dilger established a clandestine laboratory in his basement in Maryland. His mission: infect horses and mules with glanders and anthrax. The method was diabolically simple. Agents would inject animals with contaminated sugar cubes. The animals would appear healthy during loading, but would sicken and die during the Atlantic crossing. When authorities uncovered the plot in 1917, they found evidence of a biological warfare program decades ahead of its time. But here's the mystery: how many other operations remained undetected? Recently declassified documents suggest this was just one part of a much larger program that may have targeted crops, water supplies, and even human populations. But if biological warfare seems modern, our next mystery takes us into the realm of the impossible. August 21, 1915. Gallipoli. The 1st 5th Battalion of the Norfolk Regiment receives orders to advance against Turkish positions. What happens next was witnessed by multiple observers, but remains unexplained to this day. New Zealand engineers positioned on nearby hills watched through binoculars as 800 men of the Norfolk Regiment marched into a strange, low-hanging cloud. The cloud was unusually dense and perfectly stationary, despite strong winds. They expected to see the soldiers emerge from the other side. Instead, they witnessed something impossible. After the last soldier disappeared into the cloud, the entire formation suddenly lifted straight up into the sky and vanished. When the area was searched, not a single trace of the Norfolk Regiment could be found. No bodies, no equipment, no evidence that 800 men had ever been there. The official report listed the entire battalion as missing in action, but provided no explanation. Modern meteorologists have found no natural explanation for such a cloud formation. The mystery of the Phantom Regiment remains one of the most documented cases of mass disappearance in military history. But if supernatural explanations seem far-fetched, our next mystery involves very real ships and very missing crews. October 17, 1917. French fishermen spot a 2-masted schooner drifting off the coast. As they approach, they make a discovery that becomes one of the most perplexing maritime mysteries of World War I. The ship was the Zebrina, departed from England with a full crew of 5 and a cargo of coal. But when the fishermen boarded, they found the impossible. The ship was completely intact and undamaged. The cargo was secured, meals were still sitting on the galley table, barely touched and still fresh. But the 5-man crew had vanished without a trace. There were no signs of struggle, no evidence of violence, No indication the ship had been boarded. The lifeboats remained secured, ruling out abandonment. The ship's log was maintained right up until the moment of disappearance, with the final entry reading, "Weather fair, sea calm, making good progress. All hands well." Most puzzling was the ship's position when found, exactly on course, as if it had continued sailing itself after the crew vanished. German naval records showed no U-boat encounters. The crew of the Zebrina simply ceased to exist. But if the Zebrina's mystery lies in what we don't know, our final case involves a conspiracy so well documented that it challenges official history itself. May 7, 1915. The RMS Lusitania is struck by a German torpedo off Ireland. Within 18 minutes, the ship sinks, taking 1,198 lives. The tragedy shocked the world and helped turn American opinion against Germany. But was this really the unprovoked attack on innocent civilians that history remembers? Recently declassified documents reveal evidence of a conspiracy reaching the highest levels of British and American governments. The Lusitania was secretly transporting 4.2 million rounds of ammunition and artillery shells to British forces. German intelligence knew and had published warnings in American newspapers. But here's the conspiracy. British Admiralty records show the Royal Navy deliberately withdrew the destroyer escort. Winston Churchill had written about the need for a dramatic incident to bring America into the war. British intelligence tracked the U-boat's position and deliberately routed the Lusitania into harm's way. Survivors reported a massive secondary explosion, far more powerful than any torpedo. Deep-sea exploration confirmed an internal explosion from the ammunition cargo. The passengers were sacrificed to serve political goals. The conspiracy worked. Within 2 years, America entered the war. 5 mysteries from World War I that challenge everything we think we know about history. From angelic apparitions that may have saved an army, to biological warfare that predated modern terrorism. From entire regiments that vanished into thin air, to ghost ships that sailed without crews, to government conspiracies that sacrificed innocent lives for political gain. These cases remind us that beneath the sanitized accounts in textbooks lie stories far stranger and more disturbing than we've been taught. They show us that history is not a collection of settled facts, but a landscape filled with unanswered questions and suppressed evidence. If you found these mysteries as fascinating as I did, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment. Which mystery intrigued you most? Do you believe the Angels of Mons were real? Could an entire regiment vanish into thin air? Was the Lusitania deliberately sacrificed? Next week, we're exploring 5 unsolved mysteries from World War II that are even more bizarre and well documented. Share this video with anyone who questions official narratives. The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unexplained mysteries of World War I. Remember, history is written by the victors, but the mysteries belong to everyone.